Love is passion, obsession, someone you can't live without. Fall head over heels, find someone you love like crazy, who will love you the same way back. And how do you find that someone? Forget your head, and you listen to your heart. Because the truth is, there's no sense living a life without this. To make the journey and not fall deeply in love, you haven't lived a life at all. Because you have to try. If you haven't tried, you haven't lived. This famous quote is from the movie Meet Joe Black. And in the movie scene, the fatherly character, William Parrish, said these lines to his daughter, Susan, who was going to get married to her fiancé on the weekend. Her fiancé is what many in today's age would say contains the perfect conditions to be a perfect spouse. He's smart, he's rich, he is successful, and he can propel any organization to greater heights. However, William, the father, noticed that Susan had a sense of emptiness in her, that perhaps she was feeling not as active and passionate about the wedding, and was perhaps settling for the wedding. Later in the movie, she met this guy named Joe. Joe was a regular guy who was from a small town and just stepped into a big city. He was struggling and was working pro bono. But what he had was a little confidence, a little casualness, fun, and was relevant. I will not spoil the story of what happens in the end, because I just want to share with you loosely the context of the theme today: unconditional love and conditional love. You see, first of all, let us understand the concept of unconditional love. If we do a search on Google today, unconditional love is an affection without limitation. It's love without conditions. It is non-judgmental and a sense of altruism. Sounds romantic and idealistic. Don't you all want to selfishly have and possess such a love one day? Don't we all yearn and wholeheartedly hope to also do the same to someone today? But the question to the audience today is unconditional love relevant and realistic in today's age? Personally, let me tell you a story. For most of us today, in today's age rather, people look for conditions before they look for a partner. Think of what you look for in a dating app, for example. In a dating app, somebody will put a condition: is this person good looking? Is this person tall? Does this guy have the 5 C's? Country club, condo, credit card, car, cash? I got the 5 right today. Jokes aside, on a dating app, people look for things like: is this guy tall enough? Does this guy have a stable job? Is he well groomed? Is he maybe in Toastmasters? That I consider. So the thing is, personally for me, with all these conditions in place, are people still ideally looking for unconditional love? Personally for me, growing up, I grew up with romantic movies and fairy tales that tell stories of unconditional love. And I grew up imagining, thinking that as long as I find that someone, somehow or other, everything will fall in place. Someone, somehow, someday would complete me, and everything will be happily ever after. I can't be further from the truth. The more I grew up, the more I realized, and as I get older, like Billy as well, I begin to realize that divorces and breakups happen more often than not. And they happen because, and when I dig deeper on the breakups, on why they break up, it appears that one partner has stopped fulfilling the conditions of what the other partner wants. And that hit me hard. Does it mean that love is actually conditional? What I'm saying once again is, if we get together, does it mean that we get together on a certain condition, and once a certain conditions of the partner is not met, we decided that this is not for us anymore? I was quite gutted to know that unconditional love is actually rarer than we think it is. The good news, however, I think not all is lost in this world. Unconditional love can still be found. But realistically, if you look back at home, unconditional love is much closer than we think it is. Our parents see us grow up, they see our struggles, the good and bad times, and they still love us unconditionally. That made me have a second realization. Does unconditional love and conditional love happen in different ways? And perhaps they can occur in our lives, but with different groups of people. Unconditional love from parents, and perhaps conditional love with our spouse or partner. After saying all this, I do not want to ruin the idea of a relationship still. Unconditional love, conditional love could still be out there. Who knows? You may just find your Susan in this room right here. I leave you with this open-ended question. Is unconditional love something to still romanticize about and still something to yearn for? Or is conditional love something more pragmatic and more realistic in today's age? For those who are in a relationship, I wish you happy forever. And for those who are not in a relationship, I wish you, like what William would say, forget your head and listen to your heart. Thank you.